Hi everyone, I'm here with your weekly Astro report for the week of July the 23rd to the 29th of 2018. Last week was pretty quiet week astrologically. This week's going to be a little bit busier, so let's get into that right away. As always, of course, I have to do my shameless plug. If you would like an astrology reading, if you would like a birth chart, you can go to my Etsy shop below to order one, and yeah, I would love that. So let's get on with the report. Okay, so headlines. We have a full moon this week. The full moon is on Friday, July the 27th at 3:20 p.m. Central Time. Please adjust for your time zone. It is also a lunar eclipse, so it's a big one. So this full moon is in the sign of Aquarius. So the sun is always opposite the moon when there's a full moon. So the sun is in Leo, the moon is in Aquarius, the opposite sign. This is one that's definitely going to be affecting, of course, Leos and Aquariuses, particularly those born towards the end of July and the end of January. I think this is probably the people that are the most affected by it. Not that other people won't be. It depends on your personal chart, of course. But whenever these things come, lunar eclipses tend to reveal to us stuff from within. Solar eclipses tend to reveal stuff from without. Stuff that was hidden comes to light. With lunar eclipses, it's like old issues come up and reveal themselves because they need healing. So it's not something I want people to be like worried about or anything. It's just, stuff might come up, and be nice to yourself. If you know your chart, look at your chart to see where Aquarius, what houses Aquarius and Leo rule. For me, they rule the 11th and 5th houses. So for me, it might bring up issues around creativity or children, or issues around friends and family. So definitely more relationship type focused stuff might come up, for example, for me. But again, it depends on what your chart is. But it affects everyone to a different extent. But just expect, like with any full moon, people can be a little more emotional, a little more moody. But also with a lunar eclipse as well, everyone's kind of dealing with their own stuff. So be kind to yourself, be kind to other people, just kind of know what's going on for this week. The other thing that we have going on is Mercury goes retrograde on Thursday, July the 26th at 12:02 a.m. So right early in the morning. So depending where you are in the world, it might be Wednesday night, it might be Thursday morning, or Thursday later in the day. But basically on the 26th, Mercury goes retrograde, which does 2 or 3 times a year. People make a big deal about it. It happens 2 or 3 times a year. Again, depending on your chart, it may or may not affect you, but it does lead to things like miscommunications, travel delays, computers going down, losing your keys, losing tickets. It's not the end of the world. Just make plans around it. Basically, just build in, if you're traveling somewhere, that it might take more time than you think it does, and just go with the flow. Make sure you're putting your keys in the same spot you always put them in. Make sure you're putting your tickets, if you're going somewhere, in a special spot. The great thing about Mercury retrograde, though, is it allows us to go over some things that maybe we need to redo, especially if we have to do any reports or writing or anything like that. It's a good time to revise and edit and redo things. We also tend to find things we've lost during other Mercury retrogrades. So it's a good time to go through things and look through things as well. So it has its good side too. We do have, once Mercury goes into retrograde, we will have 5 planets in retrograde. We'll have Mercury, Mars, let me think about this, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto will all be in retrograde. Now, Neptune and Pluto and Saturn, their retrogrades are not quite as noticeable because they're a long-term retrograde, but because there's 5 planets going on, we may notice that things are pretty slow. This has kind of been going on all summer. We've had planets going in and out of retrograde. It's going to be a summer where things do progress, but maybe not as quickly as they'd like, especially with Mars still being in retrograde. So we want to push things forward, but maybe they're not happening quite as fast as we want. That doesn't mean not to keep going. It's just that we have to redo some things. We have to revise them. There's a reason things are a little slower than expected. So just keep that all in mind when you're thinking about those things. So let's get started with the week. So we start the week with the moon on Monday all day in the sign of Sagittarius. So Monday's kind of a day we want to have some fun. We definitely are like, oh, Monday, I don't really want to work. We want to go and do fun things. So, try to build a little bit of fun into your day on Monday. We also have, let's see, on Tuesday, we have a void moon at 3:22 a.m. and then the moon moves into Capricorn at 4:49 p.m. So the morning and most of the afternoon are probably not great times to get things done. Kind of just go with the flow. Not a great time to start something new. And then as the evening goes on, we go into Capricorn, which is definitely like a hardworking sign. It's a sign that wants to get things done. So Tuesday evening, we kind of have a little bit more of businessy type energy to things. And then we also have Venus opposite Neptune on Tuesday. So Venus opposite Neptune. Neptune is a sign it's a planet, that rules things like dreams and spirituality and water, but it also rules things like alcohol and drugs, fantasies, wishful thinking, illusion, deception, anything watery and nebulous. It's hard to pin down Neptune's energy because it's a watery planet. So when it's opposite Neptune, we may have overly romanticized ideals about things, whether they're people or particularly around creativity. So don't believe everything you hear on Tuesday. There's a lot of sort of energy around flattery when it comes to that day. So if you hear something that sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Just keep that in mind. It's a good day for romance and creativity, but it's saying like don't take things too seriously on that day on Tuesday. Wednesday, the moon remains in Capricorn, so it's again a good day to get some work done, get down to business. The sun is squaring Uranus on that day, so it's also a day where some surprises might happen. Uranus is all about change and surprises and things coming out of nowhere. And not necessarily a bad thing either. They can be pleasant surprises, but just be prepared that your best laid Capricorn-y plans may not work on that day and that you may have to adjust them. And you may hear some surprising things on Wednesday. We also have the sun trining Chiron, so it's a good day for doing some healing work and doing some work on ourselves. And some of the surprise things that come up might trigger some things, especially with the eclipse coming up and people feeling somewhat emotional. It's a good time to look at those things and examine those things that come up for us on the Wednesday. Thursday, we have the moon has a void at 8:41 a.m. and it remains in a void for the rest of the day. So it looks like Tuesday evening, Wednesday are the days to get some work done. Thursday, we kind of more go with the flow on Thursday as well. And that's also when Mercury moves into retrograde on Thursday. So I usually find the first few days and the last few days of the retrograde are usually when people seem to notice it the most. So again, things may not always go to plan on Thursday. Just go with the flow with things as much as you can, that's for sure. And then Friday, the moon moves into Aquarius at 5:41 a.m. Central Time, and we have our full moon at 3:20 p.m. So Aquarius, when moon's in Aquarius, it's a air sign, so it's maybe not as moody as emotional as maybe some other signs, but it's definitely very thought process oriented. It likes to learn. We like to learn things. We want to try new things. It's a good day for working with new technologies and computers. It's a good day for just trying new stuff, and we want to go with the flow, but we also want to be able to take in some of the surprises that come towards us on that day. So kind of a week where things may throw us for a loop a little bit, but it's also a very rebellious side as well. It wants to do its own thing. It doesn't like being told what to do. So we may be like, hey, you can't tell me that. I'm going to go do my own thing, especially with it being an eclipse. There may be a lot of that rebellious sort of energy going on and people not wanting to listen to each other. Also Mercury retrograde. So just watch for that kind of thing on that day. And then, do we have anything else on Friday? Yes, we have Venus trining Pluto. So there may be also power issues going on within relationships. It's a trine though, which is good. We may find out some things about our partner that may surprise us. And good or bad, but there may be things that kind of surprise us, or we figure out another piece to the puzzle of like, oh, that's why they act that way sometimes, because this happened, you know? So we may be finding out all sorts of information. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are days where we may find out some surprising things about people. We may be thrown for a bit of a loop, and things may be a bit up and down for us on those days. So again, be kind to yourself and others. We're all going through it together. And then Saturday, the moon remains in Aquarius. So again, Saturday's a good day. Go do something different that you haven't done before. Try some fun things on Saturday. And then Sunday, we have a void moon at 4:25 a.m. and then the moon moves into Pisces at 6:26 p.m. So again, that's a day to just kind of really just go with the flow on Sunday. If you want to go out and do some fun things, I say Saturday's the day for it. Sunday's the day to relax and just kind of chill out. And I think that's it for aspects. Just going to check on the asteroids. All week we do have Mercury, because Mercury's sitting at 23 degrees. It is forming a trine all week with Vesta. So this is a really good week to actually talk about some of the expectations around our home, expectations that we have about things like housework and how we organize our time around the home. It's a good time to talk about that. And also, because Mercury's in retrograde, it's a good time to revise things. And if you've been doing renovations, it's a good time to step back, look at your home renovations and say, is this going the way I want? Do I want to redo things? Do I want to change something up here? So there's energies around that going on this week. So it's going to be an interesting week, I think, for a lot of us. Some of you, it may almost go unnoticed depending on your chart, but we've got a lunar eclipse. Basically, be nice to yourself, be nice to others right now. We're all kind of going through this. We've got a Mercury retrograde going on as well. And it looks like we may find out some kind of surprising things this week about each other. So, let's be nice and be kind to each other. So anyway, as always, if you have any comments, I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, rock and roll.